Bula. My name is Kadeja Kirkland, and I'm a mass media major with a creative writing minor at Valdosta State University. Recently, I had the experience to travel with the VESA program to do education, construction, and conservation in the island of Fiji. VESA is a volunteer organization that has projects within the various locations around the world that usually last somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks. The projects are typically overseen by some of the locals that are partnered with the organization, as well as the appointed tour leaders from the VESA organization. Those leaders include Benji, Brady, Kelsey, and Sophie, all former volunteers who are now experienced tour leaders.
G'day guys, my name is Benji, I'm from Perth, Western Australia, and I am the Fiji coordinator here in Fiji Islands. So I've been working with VESA for roughly 2 years now. Prior to working in Fiji, I was in the Southeast Asia program in Laos doing the construction at one of the schools. And then here in Fiji, I'm in charge of the construction at the school. And then I'm also the coordinator, tour leader. So everything from picking the group up at the airport to dropping the group off at the end of the program is somewhat organised by myself and the rest of the team members.
Hey, I'm Sophie. So I've been working with VESA for the past 2 years. This is my 3rd season as a tour leader. I spent the last 2 seasons in Laos, and this is my first one in Fiji.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I've been working with VESA for about a year now. I started recruiting in Australia and New Zealand in the Southern Hemisphere season, and then now I am tour leading in Fiji. I am the education coordinator, so I do all of the liaison type work between our volunteers and the schools we work in.
VESA was started in 2009 by Tom McDowell and Shona Luciana in 2009. They started with the Ecuador program, so they had a very small beginning. They had very tiny groups of 10 to 15, and then progressively they grew to next, which is the Africa program, then the Fiji, and then finally the Laos program. So now all 4 programs run simultaneously between the Northern Hemisphere, which is April to August, and then the Southern Hemisphere, which is November to February. The reason that they started the programs is that they saw that a lot of the places that they were traveling and backpacking were very poor and very in need, and they weren't getting reached by traditional charities or the local governments that they were visiting. And so they thought that this was a great opportunity to make a sort of combination of volunteer work plus barefoot, adventure tourism in these places. And that's sort of how VESA was born. So while VESA's been in Fiji for roughly 10 years now, we've been over to 80 schools. So the refurbishment that we do is we come and clean out the schools, give all the walls a sand and then paint them. The painting's really good for two reasons. One, it creates a much nicer learning environment. And two, is that a lot of these places are in tropical, hot, damp, wet climates. And the walls actually get a huge amount of condensation on them. And the existing paint that's on them just can't pack the amount of condensation. Thus, you get a whole bunch of wood rotting and all these sort of things, which degrades the classrooms. The paint that we put on is of really high quality. It's specifically made for the Fijian climate. And it really reduces a lot of that condensation that makes the wood that the schools are built out of last obviously a lot longer. And it also, again, like I said, makes the schools look a lot nicer and a much more enhanced environment.
Good morning to you, representative from VESA. I'm the principal of Ratu Latianara College, and my name is Mr. Sashi Mahendra Shandil. I'm probably one of the first Indo-Fijian ethnic background to be the principal or the head of the school for this institution in the last 50 years or so since the existence of this school. We have got 201 students who are enrolled in the main stream, that is from year 9 to year 13. Plus we have got about 29 students who are enrolled in vocational studies, where they study cooking and tailoring and carpentry and joinery. Now this is very important for us in a way that we really trying to give the lifelong opportunity to our students so that they can fit into the society and contribute to the workforce and the economy of this country. We made sure that these students should be given a second chance. Some of these students are as old as 34 years old. Most of them are high school dropouts. They were just into the villages. So we went down to the villages to identify them and enroll them in the school so that they can earn a living for the family, for themselves, for the nation as a whole. So I'm very fortunate and I'm very grateful that we are running this scheme, vocational, which is dying out in Fiji because it has been taken over by Fiji National University, who are charging the students. This one is sponsored by the government. Thank you. I think it is very important, and with the dynamics of things, we all have to embrace ourselves with the global society and go on the days that we can live in isolation and live a primitive life. Therefore, I think education has the same impact as it is having with the rest of the world. However, there is still room for improvement. I think there should be more awareness than at the isolated parts of Fiji. And we are doing the same. And we are doing exactly what is required for Fiji to become a modern country. The way to get out of the poverty cycle is education. They will not be able to do anything without education should they do not get the right type of education. And I've been advising my students nearly every time I have quality time to spend with them. If they want to make a difference in their life, they want to make a difference in their family and make a difference for the community they come from, they have to get the best maximum education, upgrade their skills and training, get a good job so that their children and their brothers' children and the community do not have to go through the same difficulties that they have gone through and their parents have gone through. And speaking of that, I think our children and the work that was done by the predecessors who were on this chair before me, I think is getting the right fruit to the country. We are having huge remittance to be part of our GDP. And that shows that when our children get the education, they give back to the community and community develops. Apart from the assistance that we are getting from so many NGOs, and VESA being one, our school is also partially funded by these ex-scholars, the ex-students of these schools who are abroad and doing a good job in the urban centers. So our sporting events and extracurricular events are funded by these students. And I always tell them, tell my students they have to follow the suit so that when they get out of this school, they get a good job and a good living, they can contribute something back to the society. So I think it's a win-win situation when we preach the gospel of education. We preach these students that the importance of education should be paramount in their lives, so that they also feel valuable, part of the society that they are coming from. I think from that time, the first group of the VESA organization that have come to my school, I have been just singing one song, and that song is the song of praise for this group. VESA has really impacted us a lot, and our collaboration with VESA has been very positive to the lives of the students, to the lives of the people of this province, and also to the lives of everyone who are associated to this school, Ratu Latinara College. I think VESA is going to change the mindset of the students as far as appraising the environment is concerned, and that will motivate our students further to have better learning. If you are surrounded by deteriorated buildings, if you are surrounded with buildings which is more of an ISO than of an attraction, then your learning will not be as positive as what it will be when the VESA will complete their work here at Ratu Latinara. So yes, it's very positive and it's going to have a huge impact as far as teaching and learning is concerned.
I just wanted to be more culturally aware of another culture outside of my own. I wanted to be able to experience all of that. So my expectations were to understand the culture, participate in it, and then make friends abroad overall.
Hi, my name is Sydney Morales. Soraya.
Joannis.
From Rockford, Illinois. I'm from Iowa.
I am from Nigeria. I was born and raised there. And then I moved to Canada, I believe, 4 or 5 years ago.
The Fijians, they're very friendly, very welcoming. Everybody's like, your family, your family. So they were incorporating us into their family, and so that made us feel very welcome. And as for the actual people that I went with on a trip, like the VESA members, they were very cool. We had a big group, so they split us in half. People that I ended up being close with were my roommates and some of the people that I sat with on the bus to travel over to the village. And then some of us, because we were split, I didn't really get to know the other side of the group, but the ones that I were hanging out with for the excursions and stuff like that, they were pretty cool. I've crossed a few things off my bucket list. The first one, being able to live in another country, being able to travel on an airplane. I went snorkeling, I went skydiving, I went bridge jumping, and then cave touring, and we were able to jump off the rocks and stuff there to jump in the water and things like that. And I was able to ride a boat. Well, I was just excited about exploring another country. The only nervousness that I felt was I was going with a group of people that I never met before, so I felt nervous that I wouldn't make any good friends, or I wouldn't have as much of a good time. But I think that's the whole purpose of going on a trip, is that you can get outside of your comfort zone to experience the culture along with other people around the States.
Hi everyone, my name is Lexis Garfias. I am from Los Angeles, California.
My name's Heather, and I am from Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, and I came across VESA through a flyer at ASU on my campus, and then I went home and I just looked up information on the program and signed up that day.
I've been really good. Thank you for asking. I've been very lucky to have been returning to work. I do work with children, so it was a great, easy adjustment, just being able to go back and see them. And at the camp, it was super fun. So I've did it well.
I feel super refreshed and inspired to just, I guess, be better and be more happy in general around people. I feel like the villagers kind of just inspired us and gave us that vibe to just go out and be happy and be like the best versions of ourselves. So I've been kind of just riding that wave since we've been back the whole time.
Ever since coming back from Fiji, I've noticed the similarities to my own culture. I do come from a Hispanic culture. Primarily, my family is from Mexico, so in different ways they're very similar in the ways that they are very welcoming. They make sure they have great hospitality. They always make sure that you are at the best comfort that you could possibly be in. It was awesome. I think experience-wise, they're very friendly people. They're always approachable, and they can adapt very easily, just to anything that comes by. I could see that in both cultures are both able to do that. I think maybe sometimes the simplicity of how they both live can sometimes be like an inconvenience to other cultures. But I think it just varies on how you can view it.
I think that going to places like Fiji and stuff like that and being exposed to different cultures and actually like living in the village and doing the homestay definitely made me more aware of the differences in the world and the lifestyles that people live. So I think that I'm much, I guess, more, not more open, but more aware and just like I kind of notice things more in general now since we've been back and taken that trip.
My career-wise, I think it has helped me be more open, more understanding, more open-minded, specifically just to different cultures. One thing that I do know that Southern California tends to be very diverse with so many different cultures, especially I feel in the city that I currently work in. You have many different people coming in from all across the country, so just being able to just embrace their culture, I feel that I just absolutely loved it. Just being able to immerse myself in someone else's culture, I hope I can do the same. Career-wise, just getting to know the students because I do plan to be a teacher. So just being able to just talk to the students, understand their culture, and maybe even be a part of it in just one way or another, very simple or large. Socially, I have, when I came back, I was very inspired just how well they took care of the environment. So I definitely, not that I preach that we should be resourceful, although it's great, but just by practicing by it and just being hopefully a good example, just living more resourceful, taking care more of the environment that, it doesn't really affect, your daily lifestyle. It just really improves it, even though it's maybe a small or big change that someone may not see or might see. So hopefully in that way, I could definitely change the way people think about, maybe using plastic spoons, just using a regular, steel fork or spoon that they can reuse. It's definitely has motivated me to learn more about the environment. So I'm definitely thinking about maybe going back to school and doing more studies in that area, maybe some environmental science, just wanting to know more what I can do, just again to really help the environment. I mean, that's really what I came back with, and what I've been holding on to for the past few weeks. So hopefully I can go back to school, learn more, and then start changing things little by little.
As far as career-wise, going and traveling abroad, it inspired me to do global health as a master's program. I was going to go into clinical, and I think that just learning about the different cultures and kind of submerging ourselves in it, it really made me more aware and more in tune in like how people need to be more culturally diverse. They need to understand people's cultures and treat them with respect, as opposed to just kind of brushing over it and just being like they need to live my lifestyle. So I think that career-wise, I really want to push for that and push for cultural differences being accepted more. Personally, I think I was kind of already on that level, but now I'm more passionate about spreading it and making people more aware that, people do live differently and that it's not all about, one person and one person's vision, and it just should be more about everybody in general and the whole human race rather than just one specific person in their culture. I think I would just tell them to be ready for something totally different than you're used to and to be ready to basically get outside of your own comfort zone, and to not be afraid to do that. I think that a lot of the parts going there, I had my guard up a little bit, but once you kind of let that guard down and just let yourself be and be a part of the culture and just take everything in and just having your mind open, I think that's a huge thing, and that's how you're going to get the most out of the experience.
Because of my trip abroad, it made me realize how much I like traveling. So because I am obtaining a degree in mass media and creative writing, I hope to use those degrees to be able to merge with traveling and do that for a living. The VESA program, towards the end of our trip, they were asking if anybody wanted to join the VESA program through the marketing department, their offices, and becoming a VESA leader. So I signed up to be one because I do hope to be able to combine travel and my education as a future career. Just do it. It was a really great experience, an amazing experience, and if you do go abroad, I would say go alone, because that's how you get to witness your true character. That's how you get to witness how you're able to cope with being away from home, being in a whole new environment, because it forced me to get out of my comfort zone to be able to interact with not only the VESA members, but also the people of Fiji and their culture.
I've never really been the one who's worried, always been the one who's keeping it cool. The kind of guy who chill while others hurry. I didn't know that I've been the fool. I've been telling lies about something real, but I know love is based on honesty. Kept thinking how real love should feel, knowing that it's not just you, it's me. 'Cause I was made to be free. I am made to be free. I am made to be free. Myself and myself only. I've been like that since I was a kid. I've always put my feet wherever I want to. Before I saw who I could be, kept thinking, where did I go wrong? Then realizing where I do come from, was asking how real love should feel, knowing that it's not just you, it's me. 'Cause I was made to be free. I am made to be free. I am made to be free. That's my choice, what I need to be free. Still thinking how real we love should feel when I know that it's not about you, just me.